Firstly, just to introduce myself, my name's Gina Dowding, and I'm not so newly elected Green MEP for the North West. I was elected in May, and I'm so delighted to be able to use my role to be bringing this conversation today to Burnley about art and soul. And I do feel very much as though what today is about starting a conversation about the role of art, social cohesion and regeneration in Burnley. But in some ways that we're here in Burnley to talk about the function and the role of art and culture that could apply to any town, whatever its size, across the Northwest. But I'm particularly excited to be here in a small town in the Northwest and not to be focusing on Manchester or Liverpool, where so much of the arts resources gets directed. I was part of that green wave that got elected in May, and I've joined a group in the European Parliament of 75 Green MEPs. And guess what? A lot of our time we spend talking about climate change. And a few of us decided that whilst we are definitely still in the EU, we wanted to explore some of the other really important things that are being missed at the moment because of their obsession, if you like, in this country with the discussion about Brexit and our role with our international partners. And one of those things that's being missed so sorely is the discussion about arts and culture. And I just wanted to say thank you to two members of my staff who were instrumental in bringing this event together and partnering whilst we've still got that official link with the EU, with people in Girona. And it was their idea to bring people over from Girona to help us have this conversation. If we care about social mobility and child well-being, then we need every child to have an arts-rich education. But there is also a strong economic growth imperative. The creative economy accounts for 1 in 11 jobs across the UK, and the creative industries generate £101 billion per annum, making up more than 5% of the UK's economy. This is bigger than the car industry, life sciences, aerospace, and oil and gas sectors combined. That's from the Cultural Learning Alliance this year. And just one other quote. Many communities operate on the basis of a series of parallel lives. These lives often do not seem to touch at any point, let alone overlap and promote any meaningful interchanges. So it's on that note that I want us to look at what role the arts and culture can have. So it's my pleasure to hand over to the first of our speakers, Marc, who's come from Catalonia, from Girona. So Marc is ConArte International's director. As a cultural manager, his work has focused on linking up cultural policies and education, as well as arts and cultural heritage. ConArte International's goal is to promote educational projects within the arts and with artists to add value, increase social inclusion and empowerment, encouraging citizens to become creators and critical consumers of arts and culture. What better note to start this conversation today. Thanks, Marc.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for inviting us. We are so happy to be here. My name is Marc. First of all, I have to apologize because that Gemma couldn't come. She knows pretty better than me about the history of ConArte. The English translation should be with art, educating arts education, but not just arts, educating through arts. We will see what are we educating through arts later. First of all, I would like to put a stupid but small and interesting example, I think. I don't know, here in England, in Spain, music at school means like 25 children sitting with a flute, playing on their own, not taking care about what is doing the other next to him. So for me, the worst subject at school was music. And was because we were playing without any objective, without taking care of what was doing the the colleague next to us was just playing, but without any other meaning on that. So what is the base of ConArte? We always put this article of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is the base of this project. All of us, we have the right to participate, to join, to gather the community between culture and arts, and we have the right to enjoy it. Yeah. So we work. Well, I didn't tell that. I will spend 30 minutes. First of all, presenting the project. Afterwards, we are going to see a video on this screen, which is an example of one of the productions that we have done, and afterwards, a short conclusion. Yeah. So we work with the schools in neighborhoods, in zones of exclusion, social exclusion, usually in the outskirts of big towns and small cities of Girona County. Girona is the biggest city there. There are a few others. We are nowadays working in 5 towns and cities in Girona County. This picture is from a group of ukulele. Is it called the same here, ukulele? Yeah. Which is an instrument that we really love because it's small children get in touch really easily, and it's also really cheap. And it's important, this detail, we will see why afterwards. Yeah. So how does this project work? Plantes, which the English translation should be, I think, seedlings, or like that. It's like the small plant that afterwards will grow up. Seedlings, sorry about that. So the project works through several steps or parts. First of all, introducing this artistic education into schools, not just at music class. It can be also theater, dance, audiovisual, pictures, and we are like trying to expand through other art expressions. Always training with teachers and artists who are going to work together inside the class. Also, always evaluating how is the impact of this activity along the whole project. And there's also a part of visualization, of dissemination of this activity. So for this reason, we are also so glad to be here, because our purpose is to share these practices that we think that we are managing to do. So some parts good, some others not enough. So we try to improve our activity step by step. Here you have a small group of guys at dance class. Physical education is one of the subjects where we also work with teachers who usually understand physical education, not just sports. There are many other parts of the body expression that we need to work, and dance is one of those ways to work with them. Yeah, I'm showing just some examples of the project, but afterwards we will see more deeply how do we work with that. How does it run? Each week, 1 hour of class with an artist and the teacher. There's a guy playing the violin. These artists and teachers are always coordinated. Every week, a part of the class, they are preparing the classes all together to share of course, the curriculum of the school project and the artistic project that they are developing for minimum 2 academic years. Sometimes we agreed to do 3 academic years with the same group. At this moment, we are working with 7 schools and 2 high schools. There are some other schools that after 3 or 6 years participating in the project, they managed to work on their own. So one of our purposes is also to help them starting, and if they get in touch to, for example, the municipality school of arts or the music school, and they can work on their own without us, they can move on without our work of coordinating and teaching. So we participated in other schools. I think minimum 6 other schools that nowadays are not participating directly with Plantes specifically. So at this moment we have more than 500 students involved in the project through all those schools on the projects of music, which can be orchestra, such as this guy who is playing violin, or ukulele, or the other specialists that I already said. How is teacher and artist training? We have some working workshops, working groups we call that we organize along the academic year, where the teachers and artists share this moment to share experiences, but always we invite somebody who can give us his or her expertise on the field of cultural pedagogy, methodologies to go farther on developing the project, and in collaboration with a festival that there is in Girona County. It's a scenic arts festival. We organize a seminar which is called A Tempo, because it points out the importance of the quality of the time in education and the role that arts and culture plays on this quality in education. This seminar is just 3 years old. It's once per year, but it's growing. This year we had 92 teachers and artists joining us there. So we are quite happy about that. So this permanently, this connection with training, it's also so important to not just coordinate those cultural and educational agents, also to improve their activity. How is ConArte financed? Sadly, most of the city councils or town councils are not really convinced of the importance of this kind of projects. In fact, we need a quite important amount of money to pay the artist along the whole year attending the classes. We need to pay the instruments, so an orchestra will be really expensive. For this reason, I appreciate ukuleles, or even theater or dance. But orchestra also has some other advantages that we can talk about later. Anyway, most of our income comes from some grants. We are searching permanently in private foundations, support, etc. And there are a few that have a specific projects for arts, social cohesion, and education. So this way we are managing pretty well since 2013. Well, practically 30% comes from public administration. It depends. There are some town halls that we have a really good relationship, and they are pouring even more than 30%. Some others just a few. And this small 8% comes from other cultural services that we give, or other trainings that we organize. So this small income helps us. We call there minding the gap, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know if you have some expression that can explain the same. So I really love this one because, well, she's the director of a school who is really involved in the project, Marc, and she is also a music teacher. So she's really involved in the project since several years. She's working in Sal. It's a small town, 30,000 population next to Girona, where they have 60% of population who is coming from Africa. And well, there are schools, public schools, that have a big percentage, like 95% of migration, people who is new in the city. So they really appreciate the help or the support that arts are giving them to work with this context of interculturality. And because you can find that in a class of 20, there are 15 different languages or 10 different languages. So for children who had arrived recently, these new ways of getting or gathering their activity, not just through speaking, it's really helpful. We also appreciate the orchestra because of course, we take care of buying the instruments, but along the whole academic year, each child has their own instrument, and they have to take care of it. So, and it's quite important not to destroy it, because if not, they will not be able to participate anymore in the project. And we can tell you that we have 2 orchestras right now, 60 instruments. Every year we just need to change 2 or 3, so we are managing pretty well about that. And it's not just respecting the instrument, it's respecting the others. In orchestra there are several instruments, so each one has a different role. And you need to not be angry with the colleague if he or she is not managing to play well enough, understanding him or her, supporting him or her, and go forward together. What else? The evaluation of the process. At the beginning of the academic year, we start with a small test with children, artists, and teachers about some topics that we are going to see afterwards, that later, at the middle and at the end of the project, we will compare. Yeah? So we are more focused on the impact that the project gives than more onto the organization or other topics. Yeah? Which are those qualitative, these impacts that we are searching for? Social cohesion, as we had said, there are most of the groups we work with, there's important diversity. So the role of the project is focused on helping the whole group to gather and to know better all the colleagues, not just who they are, to play together inside school, to have better relationship outside school, to have a better relationship with children from other schools, because in these towns, like for example Sal, which is this town of 30,000, we are working in 3 different schools, and at the end of the year we organize some activities together. Also knowing better the aspects of this interculturality. This is not a problem, it's a richness. And knowing better each other, it's also a way of knowing who they are. About cultural participation, we noticed that in these neighborhoods, most of families do not attend theater, neither music plays. So through the project, we invite the families to participate in cultural activities with some low prices, even some free activities for the families of the children who are participating. And we also are following the activity of children. For example, in Sal, this is the same town, some children, after finishing the project, prefer to continue playing. So nowadays there's an orchestra in the same school that I was saying before, this one, that they have a small orchestra who are children who finished the project, and they are not studying anymore at this school, but they wanted to carry on with that. So we are also helping them keeping alive this orchestra. And cultural competencies, is it correct? Competencies, yeah. There are, in the curriculum, there's one competence which is culture and arts, but those competencies are related to many others. Yeah, for example, through theater, we are not just playing theater plays, we are writing what are we going to play, so we are preparing what we are going to communicate. While we are preparing that, we have to share opinions with the other friends, we have to respect their opinions, but we have also to defend our ones. All of those are communication competencies. For example, through dance, as we said, there are many corporal expression competencies that usually at physical education are not worked. So, last aspect of the project is this dissemination. So, through research papers, through seminars, joining networks who are working on arts education, such as INO, which is a European network of observatories of arts education. We are in several countries through this network all around Europe, or through some European projects. At this moment we are involved in Interreg Poctefa, which is for zones in the border. Girona is close to France, is a project with South France, North Spain. We are 12 partners in this project, all of them working through arts education for social inclusion. And we also make some artistic productions. And these productions are made at the end of the project. At the end of these 2 or 3 years, we make an effort to help these schools making an artistic production with all the needs that an artist should need. In collaboration with this Festival of Arts that I already said, these last 3 years we managed to put the production in the program of this festival. It's a festival that is arriving to many people. So for children, this is like saying we are not just at school, we are also playing in a festival which is taking thousands of people to Girona city. So if do you think it's fine, we are going to see one of those productions, which I think it's nice to see. And I think it's a good example of the project. It's right in this screen.
estels les guiaran com capitans d'una barqueta, tot acaronant la mar. Uns adormits a la riba, d'altres somiant despers, però per tots arriben sota l'aigua mar endins. Sents la veu d'una sirena cantant en la immensitat per totes aquelles vides que mar obert han naufragat, que mar obert han naufragat. Mar és la casa dels peixos, mar és l'ànima del món, una mare que però sola i que et canta una cançó. El mar és qui ens dóna vida i potser qui ens la traurà. Són colors d'una gran tela i a mar obert anem navegant, i a mar obert anem navegant, i a mar obert anem navegant, i a mar obert som tots iguals.
So this is a result of a project in 2 schools and 1 high school, and we have been also recording in one of the towns which were participating next to the sea. The video, in this case the production, is the result of not just playing music or dancing, is also a reflection about the refugee policies in Europe, and also the Spanish policies more specifically. Just a small example, why a football player can come to Spain and get a Spanish nationality so fast, while others has to die in the sea. And in fact, we collaborated with an association which is called Open Arms. They have a ship. They are rescuing people into the Mediterranean Sea every week. And as Carola Raclet, who has been also quite famous because she has been stopped in Italy, their ship has been blocked in Spanish port for many weeks also because of that, because having rescued people who were going to die in the sea. So the social purpose with the project, it's also a benefit or a mixture, not just playing arts. And it's a way of being also more critic, and to trying not to tell people who have to think, giving tools to people to construct their own opinion. So I think, and we think, all my colleagues, that arts education and culture has to help the society being more critic, and just this way, in long terms, we can fight for a better world. So in cultural and arts policies, we cannot, or we think that we cannot search for short-term impact or solutions. It will take a long time to improve it. And this is the philosophy of Plantés. We work with children who are the citizenship of nowadays and also of the future. And this is the project. I invite you to search us in social networks if you would like to. And thank you very much for inviting us again. It has been a pleasure, and I've been told that we will have time for questions and sharing other opinions afterwards. We move on. Yeah. Thank you very much.